All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into our video on how to do the fluency assessment. You should be on page 9 of your assessment kit, where it gives you the directions for administering this quick and easy adult reading assessment for fluency. And so the key thing with this is we're going to see how fluently a reader reads. So what does that mean exactly? If you go with me to page 9 and you look at this fluency scale, this is really what we're going to be taking a look at. At the M level, the M stands for mastery. At that mastery level, it's what a good reader reads like. They read very smoothly. They pause when they're supposed to, at commas and periods. Their voice is expressive. Their voice might go up at the end for a question. It's not perfect. There may be some mistakes here and there, but for the most part, they're putting everything together. Good, solid reading at the M level. The second thing that we're looking at here on page 9 is RP, and that stands for rate and prosody. What we're seeing here is that the rate and prosody of the reader is beginning to break down. So while they're still accurate, while they're still knowing what these words are, really what we're seeing here is a slowdown. The reading rate slows down. And there's more pauses and breaks, and sometimes maybe at inappropriate points where we wouldn't see a good reader do it. A good reader chunks, got a chunk here, chunk there, chunk here, chunk there. But a reader where rate and prosody is going is chunking at unusual points. They might blow through commas and periods. So also might see repetitions there, or they won't say the particular word that's on there, maybe say another word. So that's what we're looking for as we go to RP. And then finally, the A is where we see accuracy breaking down, where they're having trouble reading these individual words. Sometimes we do have word-by-word reading, still some phrases, but these phrases are still, they're uneven, they're choppy. But now we've got frequently where we're repeating words or missing words or saying another word instead of the ones there, and we're hearing that sounding out. And what our goal is on this assessment is to try to find the highest level that our reader is there at that A level, at that accuracy level. You'll notice on page 10 that we have a sheet that we're going to use in order to keep track of this. We have Barbara back with us again. And what we're going to do first is we're going to benchmark. I want you to hear readings at the M level, at the RP, and at the A level. So this reading that we're seeing here on the screen, we're going to take a look at that with me. And Barbara's going to first start at the M level. So let's listen to Barbara read as a good reader would read this passage. I may stop her part of the way through. Please go ahead, Barbara.
This weekend, we went to the zoo. It was awesome. Our son went with us, and his sister came too. The zoo was in the city. It took a long time to drive there. My son and his sister complained a lot. My wife said they sounded like broken records. When we got there, my kids were excited. They wanted to see the seals first. They love the seals. They put on a show. The seals could balance balls on their noses.
Great, Barbara. We're just going to stop right there. So she put it all together. Great. Accuracy, rate and prosody, everything was smooth, pausing where she was supposed to, solid reading, definitely an M. Now, she's going to read this again, where we're going to start seeing rate and prosody break down. We're going to hear her slow up. We're going to hear pauses at strange points where we wouldn't expect to. We're going to maybe see her blow through periods and commas. So, Barbara, when you're ready, let's do this reading at a RP level, please.
This weekend, we went to the zoo. It was awesome. Our son went with us. His sister came too. The zoo was in the city. It took a long time to drive there. My son and his sister complained a lot. My wife said they sounded like broken records. When we got there, my kids were excited. They wanted to see the seals first. They loved the seals. They put on a show. The seals could balance balls on their noses. We clapped so hard our hands turned read.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop you there, Barbara. Great job. So we could see she really slowed up. We could see there were more frequent pauses, especially as we're dealing with words that maybe were more challenging. The chunking didn't make sense. Sometimes we blew through a period. So she was still getting the words accurately, but just really right, and that prosody, that smoothness, that rhythm was not there. So she's going to read this one more time now at an A level, where we're going to have trouble with sounding out some individual words, and we'll also see that the rate and prosody is still broken down. So Barbara's going to read this as loud as she can here, so we'll be able to hear it well. And whenever you're ready, we're going to listen for reading here at the A level.
This weekend we went to the zoo. It was awesome. Our son went with us. His sister came too. The zoo was in the city. It took a long time to drive there. My son and his sister complained a lot. My wife said they sounded like broken records. When we got there, my kids were excited. They wanted to see the seals first. They love the seals. They put on a show. The seals could balance, say, balls on their noses.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. So notice we had rate and prosody still had some issues, but also on word accuracy. Definitely with words like awesome, words like complained, words like excited, words like record. She was struggling and having trouble with. So that's really where we see the difference between those two. We're having to sound out more words, more choppy reading. So those are how this is going to look. And always you can refer back to your chart. As you do a couple of these tests, again, this will become very easy to do, and you'll know right away what it is. So what we're going to do, if you remember when we tested Barbara, her alphabetics level was at 6. And normally we would start the fluency also at a level 6. What I'm going to do, though, in this case is I'm going to go back to 5 because I was a little concerned about the quick jump off we had at the alphabetics test. So I'm going to go ahead and start her at 5. And as you're listening to her read, think about, is this at the mastery level, or do we see rate and prosody breaking down, or do we see not only rate and prosody but also word accuracy? So Barbara, whenever you're ready, we're going to read level 5, please.
Last week, my family went to the county fair. My brother is a volunteer fireman, so he was working at the fair. My children and I went to meet him. I am very glad we did. It was a great night. When we arrived at the fair, it was very crowded, and finding my brother was like finding a needle in a haystack. We finally found him because we heard the fire truck siren blaring and knew it was him. Showing off a fire truck is his favorite pastime. That truck is his pride and joy. There was feeling of excitement at the fair. Everyone was happy and having fun, just like how the children feel on their birthdays. First, my children went on a Ferris wheel that was over 100 feet high.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. So a couple of things. You don't always have to have the student read the whole passage if you have a pretty good read on how they're doing. And also I mentioned what the level was at the beginning. I wouldn't do that with a student because it's not really... because they can associate 5 with grade level 5, and that might make them feel uncomfortable. So I never would really mention or make a big deal of what the number is. I would just hand them the passage that they should read. And again, you can find all these reading passages there in the assessment kit. But what would you score Barbara here? Well, looking at how she's done, she was reading as a good reader would do. Rate and prosody were strong. Her word accuracy was strong. I have a feeling she could read this very, very well. So I would rate this as an M. I think we're still at her reading mastery level for fluency here. I didn't see any major problems. Again, M doesn't mean it's perfect, but M means we've got solid accuracy, we've got solid rate and prosody, everything's moving on together. So our goal as we give this assessment is to find what is the highest level that we can get a score of A on. So she was a mastery at level 5, so I'm going to go ahead and ask her now to do the next level. And so follow along, see what you think we would rate this particular passage. Please, Barbara, when you're ready.
Have you ever been to an amusement park? Over Labor Day, our family went to the largest one in our state. We rode many rides and saw some fantastic shows. The greatest parts were the roller coasters. My children's mission was to go on every coaster at least once, and they accomplished it. They even went on several twice. The recently constructed shredder was the first they tried. It was the tallest, largest, and most daunting coaster I have ever seen, despite my better judgment. I agreed to accompany them on the ride. We did have to wait in line too long to experience the shredder. Once on board, a large metal bar held my body in place, and 2 pads surrounded either side of my head.
Okay, Barbara, I'm going to stop you there. Thank you. So what we saw here and what I hoped you noticed was that rate and prosody are really starting to break down here, especially over some of these longer words. Barbara was able to sound them out correctly, but was really slowing down and pausing there. So we're not seeing the smoothness that was there in our previous reading. So reading rate slowed down, especially as we got close to some of these larger words. The phrasing wasn't as good at periods, and sometimes we blew through periods and went on. So what I would do, what I would rate for this level 6 that we're doing, I would go ahead and rate it an RP for level 6. So what our mission is, again, highest level rated A. So we're going to keep on going. I'm going to ask her to read the next passage. And so if you want to follow along here, we're going to ask Barbara to read the next passage. And once again, listen for where we are. Do we see individual words start breaking down where she's having trouble with accuracy, or is it still just rate and prosody issues that she might be having? So Barbara, whenever you're ready, please do the next passage.
Our family has always loved the water. My father, in particular, should probably have been born a fish. Recently, he took us on a fishing trip in the Atlantic Ocean. My children, 8 and 10, are both good swimmers, so he decided it was time to introduce them to the joys of big sea fishing. The drive to the coast only took 2 hours, but the children were so excited that it really seemed interminable to them. I bet we heard, "Are we there yet?" 100 times. My dad's excitement grew as we neared the coast as well. The instant we arrived at the hotel, he headed straight for the docks. After carefully comparing prices and sizes, he selected a vessel to charter, and we were off grayish blue and calm. The water seemed to be inviting us for an adventure.
Okay, Barbara, thank you. I'm going to stop there. I hope that you heard reading through that once again, we weren't quite at that mastery level. We were having issues with rate and prosody. Accuracy, though, was still strong. She might have hesitated at some of the words, but she still was able to get them. So what I'm seeing there is another situation, another RP rating, very similar to what we saw before. So what do we do? we're going to keep on going. We'll either go till we run out of readings, which we will here, or that highest level rated A. So, Barbara, you've been tremendous. I'm just going to ask you one more time to please read the next passage. And again, listen, are we still just hearing rate and prosody issues, or do we hear accuracy breaking down on individual words? So whenever you're ready, please.
As recent immigrants to the United States, my family and I decided to take a trip to see the Statue of Liberty, the symbol of freedom and strength was something we had read about for many years. We wanted to experience it first, and waiting for the ferry to take us to Liberty Island was a wonderful opportunity for people watching. We were not alone in our interest to see this landmark. All types of people from all corners of the world seemed to be crushed together on the dock. The trip to the island was both exhilarating and fascinating.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. I'm going to stop you there. So what I hope that you noticed there was a little difference between our last one, and especially we were struggling now with word accuracy here more often. Words like island, she was pronouncing as island. We struggled mightily with these last two words we saw, exhilarating and fascinating, because these are multisyllabic words which are much, much more of a challenge to say. So what we're going to rate Barbara in this case is rate her with an A, for we've got word accuracy issues here at level A. So what I would do is I would go back to now my reading profile chart, and I could put the highest level that she had as an M was at a level 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. I'm going to put a 5 in. And the highest level that she had rate and prosody was at a level 7. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. So back on my chart, the highest level where she had rate and prosody was breaking down was a 7. I'll keep doing that. 7. I don't need the shift key. And then finally, the highest level rated A, we kind of ran out of real estate there. She may be able to read higher, but we're going to go ahead and put an 8 there for that. So we know that as we instruct her, we're going to use level 7 materials to help with rate and prosody issues. And we'll probably use level 8 materials to help her with her word accuracy. So Barbara, thank you for your help, and we've now gone through and shown you how to do the fluency assessment that you can now try with your students.